All right, tell us about Bitcoin. Why did you do it? Where did it come from? What is it, and how does it work?
The important thing really to know is this. Imagine you were back 50 years, talking to someone from 50 years ago and explaining what a database was. And they were wondering, well, why is this so important? You could explain to them how much of the world that as they lived in it 50 years ago, would really be replaced by if there were just databases. You wouldn't have to have big filing cabinets everywhere. You wouldn't have to have all kinds of things. Well, in our lives, there are all kinds of institutions we have that are really there to solve a problem. If you and I don't know each other, we can't trust each other. How do we do certain kinds of exchange? Suppose you want to buy this piece of land from me. I can write on a piece of paper, I own this piece of land, and I'll now buy with you. But you don't know if this piece of paper means anything. So we all agree that there's going to be one office, and its record is reality, and that's the land titling office. And we all just trust it. You don't trust me, I don't trust you, we just trust it. You can say the same thing about a Visa card company. You can say, there's 100 institutions in society that kind of tie us all together that really solve the same problem. How can strangers do exchange and trust each other? Well, and with this new invention called blockchain, and Bitcoin is something that rides on top of blockchain, it's like having a database of that, but nobody owns it. No individual owns it. So what that lets us do is it lets us recreate, lets us do all kinds of things without needing those central institutions. So one of those central institutions is a central bank, and it generates money. Well, as it creates money, we have reasons to trust or not trust central banks. Central banks have a history of, and they end up watering down their money supply, and things blow up. With Bitcoin is a form of money that no central bank issues. So think of it like gold. It has a lot for people who like gold. And do you see the virtues of gold, Kevin? Do you see why in a world of central bankers?
Gold, you can't produce it automatically. You can't print it. It's been accepted as money universally for centuries. Yeah, gold is true money, and it retains its value over time. 1 ounce bought a man's suit 100 years ago. An ounce will buy a really nice man's suit today.
Right. So it's and those different aspects of it that you named are all related, but there's one fundamental one under that you named that's really the fundamental one, and that is no government official can create it. No government official, I call them mandarins, like the old Chinese mandarin system. Some mandarin, writing on a piece of paper, he can create a room full of new dollars. He can't create a room full of new gold. Well, Bitcoin has that same property because it's governed by the laws of mathematics. And in this very technical way I won't go into, but it's produced, it's generated, it comes into existence, and in a way that can't be accelerated. And it's let's say it's growing 2% per year. So it's like a very stable, old-fashioned German banker at that point. And that means it's ideal as a form of money because its growth is it can't be generated by politicians who are just trying to pump up the economy. Because at the end of the day, all those always will end in a crash. Those will, and as we know, as you can just kind of tell, so that will end in a crash. So Bitcoin, in a sense, think of it like gold, but that you can beam it across the universe. So it has all the advantages of gold. It's limited in supply. It's almost infinitely divisible, and so it's like a gold piece that you could, divide down into a millionth if you want. So it just has all these wonderful properties, and most importantly, no government is behind it. What we're ultimately authoritarianism, it depends on government issuing money, because the government needs to be able to say, okay, your money counts and your money counts, but you're the Dalai Lama and we don't like you, so your money doesn't count. Well, they can do that with all kinds of fiat currencies. You can't do that you couldn't do that with gold, and you can't do it with Bitcoin. So it's also a hedge against authoritarianism.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it would scare a lot of governments, including ours, because we use the global monetary system as a means to punish other nations when they're not doing going the direction we want them to go. So it's a big part of economic warfare. And what I hear you suggesting is Bitcoin is digital like gold, but you don't have the storage costs and you don't have the big warehouse that you have to put it in and all of that to maintain it.